struggle produces something in people. The Western world is at some level allergic to struggle. In the ancient language of Greek, the word that they're trying to translate into hope actually means.
Luke, it is good to see you again. I can't remember how many times we've kind of caught up over the last, well, year and a half, whatever it's been. And you've been on a journey, I've been on a journey, but you have got a brand new venture happening. But how are you doing anyway?
Oh, I'm doing fantastic. I had my birthday yesterday. I'm 39 years old now.
So
Hence the slight,
young.
hence the slight gray here. I blame one child on that, and the other one on this one. But that's all. That's all good. But yeah, things are good. I can't complain.
Well, happy birthday. And I'm not going to tell you my age because you probably could be my son, but there we go.
All good. All good.
But yes, you've got this amazing new project. But yeah, just tell me about it. What is this new venture that has kind of been birthed out of a bit of a time away?
Yeah, yeah. World on Fire is the new song that is out and about. And actually, it has some significant connections to you all actually in the UK. About a year and a few months ago, we were actually over in the UK, and a friend of ours kind of said, "Hey, do you guys want to, go see Oxford University?" And I'm like, "Are you serious? Of course. Who doesn't want to go see Oxford University? You guys are insane." So we go, and obviously you guys know this as a whole, but the countries that I'm affiliated with, Australia, America, let's throw New Zealand in there, they're all very young countries. Like you're talking about 17, 1800s. Obviously America, Christopher Columbus, I think it's in the 15th, 16th, but overall very young. And so you're going through Oxford and you're like, yeah, this is one of the new colleges here. This was built in the 1598, and you're just sitting there like your mind's blown. So I'm losing my mind, loving it. And we come to this little area where there's just all of a sudden there's asphalt everywhere in the streets. And then there's this walking area and there's cobblestone with a cross in the middle. And I was like, what's with the cross and this random like cobblestone street that just appears for, 4 feet. And they said, "Oh, have you heard of the Oxford Martyrs?" I said, "No, never heard of the Oxford Martyrs." And so they proceed to kind of tell us the story. I get on Wikipedia because I love Wikipedia, and I hear about Hugh Latimer and Nicholas Ridley. And Hugh, right when they're about to light themselves on fire, or the people about to light them on fire, leans over to Nicholas Ridley and says, "I pray that by the grace of God that we shall light a candle this day that I pray shall never be put out." And I got to tell you, I was really moved by that statement. And so World on Fire is really inspired by that moment, that by the songs that we used to sing as kindergartners, this little light of mine, I'm going to let it shine. And the question that I had with that song was, or that, even that little song as a kid is like, is it actually any brighter? Is it still just that little light of mine? Or is it actually turning into this beautiful, beautiful torch or bonfire that should be placed on a hill? And so, in a roundabout way, the UK has an awful lot to do with this song called Wall on Fire.
That's amazing. I mean, that's really encouraging for us to know that we've kind of instigated this God moment that you're kind of now releasing. And I've just watched the video. Well, not just watched the video, but I have watched the video. And how did that, because you've taken the concept of this light spreading, of growing, and you've taken a young child, and it's interesting because I actually did record my show that's coming out talking about World on Fire, and I did quote that song, This Little Light of Mine. And it reminded me of when I was a child, or as first a Christian, and you're kind of going out and you feel so insignificant, but you've chosen a child in your video to kind of trigger what then happens. What was the journey or the mind behind? You always have these amazing videos, these narratives with the
I
song.
think that I think that everyone feels like, whether or not you're old or young, but when you're alone, if it's just an individual, you feel insignificant. But you feel like maybe your voice doesn't matter. And I think the reason why we want a child is because at the end of the day, children become they become the world changes, right? There's no way for someone who has actually done something that the world would recognize as significant for them to have not at one point been a child. And I think that the other thing is just even scripturally speaking, like, come to me like a child. And I think that we struggle with that narrative because we want to be wise and we want to be mature. But when you get wise and you mature, you actually become prideful. And so the simple things that God puts on your heart, you actually don't do because you think you're smarter than the instincts that maybe that is being prompted into your heart. And so you actually start going, that's maybe not the God, that's not God speaking to me. I actually want to go this direction. But if you start to think faith like a child is, even what illustrated in our music video is the power's gone out. Something's telling me that I need to go take this cable and run around the world, and there's a place that God has for me to plug it in. I just think it's an illustration for all of us as to what could that look like in your life. What are the things that God's asking you in your life to go and tap into, to go and run towards, to go plug into? And that's obviously only ever answered by just the individual themselves. But that is the point in what we're trying to make in that music video.
I love that. And also, I love the fact that it was like you were all coming together, you were all kind of jumping on, and it was the little child that kind of took that initiative, plugged the light in, but actually you were then all together being part of something much brighter. And you chose the Dominican Republic. Why the Dominican Republic?
If I'm totally transparent, we were meant to go to Uganda. And if you remember 3 or 4 months ago, there was the war breaking out in the Middle East. Iran was bombing Israel and vice versa. And then America got involved. And ironically enough, we were meant to fly through Qatar. And that was kind of the hot belly of all that was going on. I believe the day that Iran actually bombed Qatar, we were meant to fly through either the day or within 24 hours. And so I got a call. I think we were meant to leave on a Tuesday or a Wednesday, and I got a call that was saying, "Hey, don't know if we should be leaving the country right now." And so we postponed it. And so we were quite devastated because you probably understand this. The amount of planning is just a lot. And especially when you're going to go to a different country, you're planning things from another country. It's very, very difficult. And so we kind of were looking around and going to some of our partners of like, well, where could we go? Because we wanted it to feel like the song, which is kind of like world beats and kind of feel like it's in a very different place. And so someone was like, hey, I think that we could get in and out of the Dominican Republic quite well. We've got some great relationships there. And they were right. Wonderful, wonderful people. Everything, it's hindsight's always 2020, but it was truly a remarkable experience to go and film this there with the people in the DR.
Well, it's a great video. I thoroughly enjoyed it. But I want to dig a little bit deeper into the fact
Yeah.
that shining your light. Now, you've shown that through when I first spoke to you, Unsung Hero, your story, the journey, and it was your journey that actually brought the light into the kind of public realm, public space to sort of speak to people. And so many people relate to your songs. I didn't really know your songs before I spoke to you and
Yeah.
met you, but I've listened to lots since. And I hear that they really resonate with deep issues, challenges. And you said, well, what is it like when you're a child? You're shining that light, you can feel insignificant. And even through the journey of life, sometimes we go through challenges, and it is in our weakness that light shines, because the light shines out of the darkness. And I know that you have taken sort of a year out, you've gone through your own challenges, and I'd love for you to be able to share with the audience, with those out there, what does that journey look like for you? Because I believe that your light shines greater because of the journey that you've had to walk through. It's not always been easy, just like you said, that journey.
Yeah, yeah, of course.
It's not always that simple.
Yeah, the struggle, it's a universal truth. Struggle produces something in people. It produces perseverance, perseverance, character, character, hope. And the truth is, in the Western society, we go through very little margins and very small amounts of struggle, and we think there's something wrong, right? You even take the concept, I'm not advocating for not having insurance, but you take the concept of insurance. I'm going to ensure the fact that whatever happens in my life is not that painful, right? We are a society and a world, the Western world is at some level allergic to struggle. But yet struggle is the very thing that produces perseverance, perseverance, character, character, hope. And here's the other thing. When in the Bible, that's obviously a famous verse. In the Bible, hope, we don't know how to translate that into English. In the ancient language, of Greek, the word that they're trying to translate into hope actually means certainty, struggle, perseverance, character produces certainty. And so for me, what I would say to people out there, if you're struggling and you're going through different things, you would, I'm thinking it's the same for you guys. It's astounding to me when you have someone who has gone through cancer, how many, and they've come out the other side, how many times, and that's just an example, obviously there can be many other examples, but how many times do you say, do those people say, I never want to go through it again? That I learned some things that I hope to actually keep with me. And it's because that very verse, that very truth, struggle produces perseverance, character, hope. So my hope is for other people. That's been my experience. I've gone through my fair share of struggle, but it has produced something great in me. So when you're going through these things, have the perspective of, is this producing something in you? Perseverance, character, hope.
Bless you. I think that, just wrapping up, I gave you both a copy of my book when I met you. And I don't know if you know that inside Joel's, I actually put the scripture, Joel, about sharing to the next generation. And I just want to thank you that is what you are both doing. It isn't just sharing to your own children, so to speak, it's sharing to the children that God has put out there. And you are speaking to a generation in this time. So I just want to thank you for that. And maybe next time I'll meet you your side of the pond.
That's right. Come on over.
That would be great.
Thank you, Sarah. Always a
Bless
pleasure.
you.
It says discern the time. And I think, can you hear the call to be positioned for purpose? Get this book so you can discern the times.